we're still in chapter 1. I didn't realize that. Oh, okay. We gotta play some catch up. Or catch up. I don't know. Even after the events of that night, Hijikata pushed himself just as hard as before. The sun is in my eyes! I'm moving away. He visited the shogun and officials whenever he could find the time. Eventually, his work began to pay off, and they were given one of the Haramoto mansions to use as their headquarters. Between his demanding schedule and fury-related difficulties, I knew he had to be in miserable condition. But he was determined to give Kondo-san his war. Those are words. This alone seemed to sustain him and drive him forward. Perhaps the gods took pity on him. Possibly?
みんな心配をかけてすまなかったな。
お帰りなさいませ、近藤局長。俺たちずっとこの日が来ることを信じてましたよ。
大げさだな。だがありがとう。俺もこうしてみんなと再び会うことができて嬉しいよ。
I gotta adjust things again. I'm sorry. Let's see that.
さて、我々の今後の行動についてだが、まずは甲府へ向かい、そこで新政府軍を迎え撃つこととなった。ご公儀からはすでに大砲2門、銃器、そして軍用金を頂戴している。ぜひとも手柄を立てねばな。
2 cannons? Oh boy. Kondo-san was promoted to executive lieutenant minister and Hijikata to vice minister prior to their mission. Vice minister, an executive position within a feudal holding, considered just below a daimyo, that manages the distribution of rice and salaries amongst the serfdom. I can read. It was a momentous honor, although some of the other men were hesitant to find cause for celebration.
なあ、近藤さん。その甲府を守るって話を持ってきたのはどこの誰だ？
勝阿波守殿だが、それがどうかしたのか？
大の戦嫌いで有名らしいな。そんな人がなんで俺たちに大砲やら軍資金を気前よく出してくれるんだ？
そもそも徳川の殿様自体が新政府軍に従う気満々らしいしな。かつなんとかさんも同じ意向なんじゃねえのか？
Kondo-san frowned. He crossed his arms, bent his chest, and spoke up.
長倉君、原田君、これは幕府直々の命令なんだぞ。確かに戦況が芳しくないため、今は慶喜公も恭順なさっているが、もし我々が甲府城を守りきれば、幕府側に勝算ありと見て、戦に本腰を入れてくださるかもしれん。それに、勝てる勝てないの問題ではない。お上が我々を甲府を守るに足る部隊だと認めてくれているんだぞ。ならば全力で応えるのが武士の本懐というものだろう。そうじゃないかね、長倉君。
その言い方やめてくれねえか。俺は新選組幹部ではあるが、あんたの家来になったつもりはねえんだからな。
Kondo-san looked upset, but Harada spoke up before he could say anything.
斉藤、お前はどう思ってるんだ？
俺は局長と副長の意見に従う。
Which is always Saito's response. All eyes turned to Hijikata-san, who was observing the amicable commotion before him quietly.
とりあえず新政府軍との戦いに備えて大使を増やそう。甲府城を抑えたら幕府からも増援が来るはずだ。それに勝阿波守殿の意向についてだが、いくら戦嫌いとはいえ避けられねえ局面があるってことぐらいは分かってるはずだぜ。なんせこの戦で幕府が負けちまえば幕臣は全員食いぶちをなくしちまうんだからな。俺たちを任しゃしねえだろ。
まあ確かにそれも一理あるけどよ。
When Hijikata-san put it that way, it seemed like Nagakura had nothing more to oppose.
では我々は甲府の山に先回りし夜襲の準備をしておいた方が良さそうですね。
今回は羅刹隊は出動させねえ。ここで待機しててもらう。
それはなぜです？
幕府からの増援が来た時、あんたらの姿を見られるのはまずい。それに甲府城には他の藩の奴らも多く詰めてるからな。存在を公にしちまったら隠密部隊の意味がねえだろ。
ですが
まだ戦始まったばっかりなんだし、こう焦る必要はねえって三男さん。
I saw Hijikata-san and Heisuke exchange a quick look. They must have realized how Sanan-san would react and talked it over beforehand. To me, at least, there seemed to be silent agreement.
よし、それでは解散。出立までは間があるから各自体調を整えておいてくれ。
That was that. The captains left for their station, seeking to brief their subordinates and prepare for battle. Only Hijikata-san remained behind to begin sifting through the massive stacks of papers and maps. I timidly approached him. Hijikata-san, are you sure it'll be okay?
何がだ。
This war, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? Wouldn't it have been better to take the Fury Corps along? Bleh.
ああ、それか。
He sighed and set down the map he'd been studying.
前に千姫とかいう女が忠告に来ただろ。羅刹隊が辻斬りをしてやがるって。俺も正直言って三男さんの仕業じゃねえかと睨んでるんだ。
What?
今んとこ羅刹隊は貴重な戦力だ。血を得るために江戸の人間を切って回るなんてのを許すわけにはいかねえ。それに鳥羽伏見の時は敵方が銀の銃弾を使ってやがったせいで羅刹隊が役立たずになっちまったからな。切り抜ける方法が見つかるまで三男さんには留守番しててもらう。平助はその見張りだな。あとは再起のための武器調達もしてもらわなきゃならねえ。
A counterattack? Does that mean he was even planning for a possible loss at Kofu?
多分次も苦しい戦いになる。本当ならお前を連れて行くわけにはいかねえんだが、ここに残しておけばまたあの風間とかいう野郎が乗り込んでくるだろうしな。お前も連れて行くが、くれぐれも危険な真似はするんじゃねえぞ。必ず俺の指示に従え。
Hi. I could feel a nervous knot forming in my stomach, but Hijikata-san had to have a far greater case of nerves than I did. I must work hard not to get in anyone's way. It was morning on the day we left for Kofu. Everyone's up already. Huh? The common room was full of men dressed in clothing I'd never seen before.
あれ、千鶴ちゃん、ずいぶん早いんだな。
Your clothes. Are you really Nagakura? What are you wearing?
副長の指示だ。今日から戦の時は様相にすべしとな。
敵は全員様相だからな。勝つためにはこっちの方が都合が良さそうだ。
Really? Hijikata-san was dressed predominantly in black, and his outfit gave him an elegant look. It suited him well. He looked as handsome as an actor. Which is true of the actual Hijikata. That is literally the compliment everybody says about him. To his face, and he knows it. I couldn't help but admire him for a moment.
どうした？俺の着方にどこかおかしなところでもあるか？
No. No, definitely not.
おかしなやつだな。
Wait, Kondo-san's not wearing Western clothes.
おお、異国の服は窮屈そうでな。あの靴というのも歩きにくくて仕方ない。
Changing from geta to shoes has to be complicated.
それに、やはり武士というのは袴に刀を刺していないと締まらん気がしてな。
Oh my gosh, Kondo-san.
あんたはそのままでいいんだ。前線に出るわけじゃねえし、陣中にどっしり構えててくれりゃいい。あんたの存在自体が大使にとって支えになるんだ。
そうか？そこまで言われると照れてしまうが。
Oh my god! Wait! I don't think I've ever seen that sprite combination before. What? I don't think I've ever seen that sprite.
それでは出かけるぞ。甲府城にいざ。
I thank God there wasn't a sound effect there. And thus, the Shinsengumi assumed the name Kyoyo Regulatory Company, and we headed for Kofu by the way of Hachioji. On the way, Kondo-san split from the main group to visit his hometown. Did we get this scene again?
近藤さんはどうしてるんだ？見当たらねえが。
局長でしたらまだ本体と合流できていないようですが。
まだ追いついてこねえのか？いつまで宿で酒盛りしてるつもりだよ。
まあ、久々の故郷だしな。偉くなった姿を見せて回りてえんじゃねえの？久しぶりに嫁さんと娘にも会いてえだろうし。
Harada has a point.
これから戦なんだぜ。そんなことしてる場合じゃねえだろ。
八王子に入隊希望者が何人かいるらしいんだ。その見分もしなきゃいけねえからな。新入りの大使と打ち解け合うには酒組み交わすのが一番だろう。
まあ、そりゃそうだけどさ。
Hijikata-san's eyes narrowed, and Nagakura looked unsatisfied as Hijikata-san muttered to himself.
金ばらまいて接待しなくても大使が集まってくるんなら、近藤さんにあんな真似させなくても済むんだがな。
Hijikata-san's words cut like a knife. The Shinsengumi had made a name for themselves in Kyoto, true, but the shogunate was faced with a numerically superior force. We no longer had the luxury of interviewing potential recruits and taking the best ones. Now, we had to offer money and alcohol to attract them. Hijikata-san would have rather cut off his own arm than stoop that low, but he had no choice.
副長、お知らせしたいことが。
なんだ、どうかしたか？
どうやら甲府城にはすでに敵が入っているようです。
なんだと？伝令だ。すぐに近藤さんを呼んできてくれ。
はい。
Go, Soma, run! It was some time before Kondo-san received the message and returned to the main body of soldiers. That was long enough for news of the castle's fall to spread along the ranks, and many panicked. Nearly 300 of the men we'd left Edo with deserted, reducing our forces to a mere 100 soldiers. Nagakura and Harada seemed more cautious, and they both advised retreat. But Kondo-san decided that we would form up for battle and fight until the bitter end. Now that we had accepted weapons and money from the shogunate, he said that there could be no retreat. Jesus.
とりあえず俺は江戸に駐屯している増援部隊を呼んでくる。ここで負け戦をするわけにはいかねえ。大使にはこの後援軍が到着すると伝えておいてくれ。これ以上脱走されちゃかなわねえ。
御意。
Saito nodded, then turned and jogged off towards the rest of the soldiers. After giving his directions to the last of his men, Hijikata-san finally turned to look at me.
お前は誰かと一緒に江戸まで落ちろ。ここは戦だ。少しでも安全な場所に逃げるに越したことはねえ。
I decided to... I think the correct answer is stay behind? Yes, it is. I'll stay here. I can't run away from somewhere safe while everyone else is fighting off. I can't run away to somewhere safe while everyone else is off fighting. I'll stay here to protect Kondo-san until you get back. Hijikata-san frowned.
どうやって守るつもりだ。お前ごときの手じゃ何の戦力にもならねえじゃねえか。
That was a yawn. That was what I expected him to say, but I wasn't going to back down so easily. It's true that I'm not good with a sword, but I can still be his shield. Any small wounds I sustain will heal quickly enough.
なんでそこまで必死になる。誰もそんな命令下しちゃいねえじゃねえか。
Well, I know I'm probably out of line when I say this, but I also know that we can't lose Kondo-san. Not now. I'm sick and tired of always being protected. I want to help. Please. I'd been with them long enough to know how much Kondo-san meant to Hijikata-san and all of the Shinsengumi. If I went back to Edo and Kondo-san died... Just thinking about that... No. I refuse to be the only person to escape unscathed this time. Hijikata-san chewed his lip thoughtfully for a moment, and his hard-piercing gaze never seemed to drift away from my face. Hijikata-san refused to break his concentration, and after a long moment, he sighed.
そこまで言うんなら、新選組大使の一員としてな。
What? My eyebrows shut up.
お前に近藤さんの護衛役を命じる。常に局長に付き従い、その役に立て。上等した。
Yes, sir! Without even thinking, I straightened up and began to nod vigorously. I, Chizuru Yukimura, protect my... if I can speak. I, Chizuru Yukimura, will protect my chief, even if it means my life. Before I could finish, Hijikata-san cut me off with a sharp expression.
ただし、条件がある。
Fuck!
絶対に死ぬな。
What? That wasn't the sort of thing I expected to hear from a man like Hijikata-san. Be careful, maybe, but not you can't die.
盾になろうなんてバカなことは考えなくてもいい。俺はお前に死ねなんて命じる気はねえ。
He gave me one last pointed look, and then turned to look towards Kofu Castle bitterly in the distance.
今回の敵が新政府軍に尻尾を振った寄せ集めの連中なら、俺たちでもなんとか戦えるかもしれない。薩長の奴ら相手じゃどうやったって勝てねえ。なるべく早く戻るつもりだが、俺が帰ってくる前に何かあったら、サイトと一緒に近藤さんに話せ。もちろんお前が盾になる必要はねえ。 一緒に逃げろ。絶対に死ぬんじゃねえぞ。
I felt a cold sweat break out on my back as Hijikata-san's words sunk in. I'd seen others fight for their lives in battle many times, but this is the first time I'd personally joined in battle. Would I really be able to protect Kondo-san? Would it even be possible to evade our enemies, let Kondo-san escape, and survive? Perhaps Hijikata-san noticed my sudden fear because he gave a short, bitter laugh.
おい、お前、その小太刀を少し抜いて持て。
Eh? I fumbled with it for a moment, surprised at the strangeness of his request, and finally pulled my sword from its scabbard. Then Hijikata pulled out his own sword in a smooth motion. Then he took his... Oh, God! Izumi no Kami. Okay, that was easy. Izumi no Kami Kanesada. And tapped his blade against my own. Izumi no Kami... Yeah, Izumi no Kami Kanesada. A legendary blade wielded by Toshizo Hijikata, forged by an 11th generation member of the Kanesada family. The clear tone they made drew goosebumps on my arms.
緊張を打つと言ってな。武士が誓いを立てるときはこうするもんなんだと。
I have now learned a thing. Kincho, the act of bumping the mouth of two sword sheaths, symbolically taken as a vow between two warriors. Damn, that's... I gotta remember this shit. Oh, really? Interesting.
俺もお前も正式には武士じゃねえから、所詮真似事だがな。
Why?
これは証だ。俺は必ず戻ってくる。お前も生き延びて俺に会うっていう証を今立てたんだ。だから信じて待っていろ。死なずにな。
His words were confident, and listening to him, I felt as if they'd somehow made me stronger, more capable. As someone who dreamt of being a true samurai, that oath meant a great deal to him. I had to follow through. There could be no breaking this promise. I understand. I will protect Kondo-san, and I will survive. Until Hijikata-san returns, I must protect Kondo-san until the end. He had given me a chance to show that I was useful, and he trusted me with an important task. Then, I would complete that task, no matter what. We need to protect Kondo-san. We must survive.